So it's the 2nd of April today, and we are back in the gym. I've got days off now, I've got 5 days off, so I thought it would be fantastic to come to the gym and do my regular sort of squat and deadlift day. That's usually how I start off my days off with gym. However, I thought, why not warm up with some leg press? I haven't done leg press since I've been doing this train every day. I've had a very interesting relationship with leg press over the years. When I first started training when I was 18, 19, I loved it. I would do legs twice a week, and leg press would be involved in that twice a week, until it got to the point where I was doing it with poor form and it was hurting my lower back, and I was playing cricket and I was just compounding pain to my lower back, and it was not working and it was not good for my health, so I stopped. I decided there and then that it wasn't worth it. I can do other exercises, other machines to build up my legs. Now that's because this is this sort of inclined vertical leg press. I did for a period go to a sort of horizontal seated leg press, and do one leg variations instead of the two leg variations, so I could sort of keep my spine a little bit more neutral and things like that. So I've done variations on it, but I probably haven't touched it for a good 100 days, maybe even longer. But to be honest, I used this as a warm-up, so I just did sort of 10 sets with adding a plate on either side until I hit 120 kilos, and then I did 8 reps at 160 kilos, and then I did 5 reps at 200 kilos, and I haven't lost any leg strength not doing leg press. To be honest, I could do 5 reps at 200 kilos, where probably 100 days ago I could manage 4, and 4 would be maxing out. But it could just be beginners beginners gains and stuff like that, where you feel really good doing an exercise one day, you come back a couple of days later and you feel really crap at it. So I did that. I worked my way up to 200 kilos. I did 5 reps at 200 kilos, and I thought, great, that's my warm-up. My CNS is primed. I've lifted some heavy weights. Let's go into the squats, and let's do some squatting under fatigue, under a bit of muscular fatigue from the legs and from the hip flexors. So I was in a position there where I like to raise my bum off the seat a little bit, which just gives me a touch more range of motion. It doesn't put too much pressure on my lower back and my coccyx and things like that. So the glutes sort of starting to fire, the hammies were starting to fire, the quads were on fire, and the hip flexors were starting to warm up as well. So I hit the squat rack afterwards, and then I just did 5 reps, so 5 sets of 5 reps, or maybe 6 sets of 5 reps of just 60 kilo squats. That's all I did, and all I wanted to do was just do those squats with my legs under fatigue and try and get closer to that ass to grass form today. I'm going to go back tomorrow, and I'm going to do heavier squats tomorrow. Today I was just more focusing on getting slightly better form and technique, because I haven't squatted for the last 5 or 6 days, and I wanted to make sure. So I was playing around with my stance a little bit. I was going slightly wider and slightly narrower, and just having a feel for how my body was functioning. And to be honest, I got quite a bit out of standing slightly narrow for a little bit. Felt really good. I felt like I could get slightly lower in my position, so it might be something that I continue to play around with a little bit, or just do variations. Maybe if doing my 5 sets, I'll do a couple sets with a narrow stance, and then a couple sets with a wider stance, and things like that. So it might be something that I continue to play around with, but I was quite happy with my form and my depth when squatting here. I was getting down past that 90-degree angle with your hips, and engaging my glutes and my hamstrings a lot more in the squat, which I felt fantastic. After that, I hit some Romanian deadlifts, RDLs, because I thought, look, last time I was in the gym, I was doing rack pulls and RDLs, and they felt really good, and I felt really strong doing them as well. Went and hit them today, felt weak as. Felt like I had no control. I tried to work my way up to 100 kilos. I did 2 reps at 100 kilos, felt like I was rounding my upper back too much. Went, nah, stuff it. Did another set at 80 kilos, and then just went to my trap bar deadlifts. I was like, look, you know what, RDLs aren't working today. You're not in the right groove for it. It doesn't feel right. There's no point in hurting yourself or pushing yourself too hard with this. Come back to it another day and just do your trap bar deadlifts. But to be honest, the trap bar deadlifts didn't feel that good as well. I sort of worked my way up to 100 kilos, and then I did 5 sets of 5 at 100 kilos with a shrug. Now, a little bit different to my normal trap bar deadlift. I didn't go all the way to the ground. I went about a couple centimeters off the ground, held it, and then came back up each rep. So at no point was I touching the ground during my reps and getting that little bounce off the ground that you do sometimes, which is something I've seen, like not with the trap bar deadlift, but it's something I've seen Klokov and a few other weightlifters do, is that, like, you know, when they're preparing for the snatch and things like that, they come down in that position where it's sort of an RDL position, where the bar might be at your knees or just under your knees, and they pause and then they snatch. So this was just sort of, for me in the trap bar deadlift, it was sort of just coming down, not touching the ground, not getting that bump and boost from the ground into the lift, and just controlling the bar and controlling the weight on the way down, instead of just the one motion of leg drive, hips back, hold it up, and then relax. It was tension all the way through the movement, which felt good, and it took me about 3 sets to warm into it, but after 3 sets I was feeling really good and I was feeling really strong from that. My lats are quite sore this evening, you know, talking about that this evening. I trained here at about 11 o'clock in the morning. It's probably about 10 o'clock at night now that I'm recording this. So I felt really, really strong. Lats are sore, lower back's nice and sore. Legs are feeling a little bit, or more like hip flexors are feeling a little bit sore from the leg press. But all in all, I think it was a good workout. I was quite happy with how my squat form was going. I probably should hit leg press a little bit more. Definitely in terms of hip flexors and stuff like that, I felt like it warms them up a lot more, and I'm probably less risk of getting hip pain or tightness or stiffness in there from squatting, if maybe I do leg press exercises, or maybe even pistol squats or something like that, just as another motion to strengthen them. And obviously there's probably a bit of band work that I could be doing more of to help my hip flexors and things like that. But it felt like a good workout. But yeah, look, as you can see here, the RDLs were not on today whatsoever, which was really strange. I felt really good and really strong and really controlled in those movements earlier, but yeah, just not today. I felt fine with the 60 kilos on, to be honest. The 60 kilos is not much, but 80 kilos I felt a little bit, yeah, not great. 100 kilos could not do it. I still have a problem with, I think, anything 100 kilos and over with the barbell. I have a problem with arching my lower back, and I don't know if it's just because my hands are positioned in front of me and it's easy with the trap bar to have them on the side of me. I don't have to round out and roll over my shoulders as much. I can keep my upper back straight, or if it's a flexibility problem, or simply that I'm just not there yet and not strong enough, and maybe I need to go up in smaller increments to hit that 100 kilos rather than going up in another 20 kilo increment. Maybe I'll go up to 90 kilos or 85 kilos or something like that. So yeah, look, I ditched these pretty quickly and went to the trap bar deadlift. And like I said, once I hit the trap bar deadlift and I got the pause in, I felt stronger, I felt good, and I think more importantly, I felt well balanced when I was holding them on the down movement. I felt really strong in my base, and I think that sort of transferred from maybe the leg press into the more solid and more stable squatting form. And then I think after I found that stability in my squat form, it transferred to my trap bar deadlift, in that on the way down when I'm holding everything, I felt really good in my base. My legs felt absolutely solid. My lower back felt really tight and really well controlled. So the only thing is I feel quite a big burn in my lats, only because I'm not used to doing that, I don't know, what is it called, eccentric holding or something like that, on that down movement, which is something that, I'll get strength from eventually, but that'll probably be something I continue to do as well. I think in the past, especially with my squatting and deadlifting, I've been allowing myself to just drop After the movement's completed, just drops on the squat, squat down quick, and then you're using your muscles and your control to move the bar up, but you're not actually controlling anything on the way down. Same with the deadlift, the trap bar deadlift. It was just sort of controlling everything on the way up, not really controlling everything on the way down. It's more like, just keep your back straight on the way down, so you don't hurt your back. I think whereas this time when I'm doing these movements with a bit more of a pause and not bouncing it off the ground and getting that energy transference from the ground back into the bar and then back into my movement up, is more beneficial to me. I also played around with my stance when I was doing these deadlifts as well. I was going for a slightly more open stance with my feet than what I usually do. I usually fairly straight on, but I don't know, maybe at a slight angle. It was more of a pronounced angle, and I was making more of an effort to push my knees outwards during each motion. Same with the squat, a little bit to a certain extent as well. When I was squatting narrow, my feet were angled outwards more, and I was making more of a conscious decision to push my knees out. So it might be something that I continue to play around with and move, differently with. But look, all in all, it was a solid session. I felt buggered. I felt sore. Core was quite tight from yesterday. Doing the bloody ab wheel of doom, pretty much. Just feels like it just tears me up every time. I feel like a bloody herniate myself every time I do that. But very beneficial movement. Always good to have a strong core. As I said, connects your top half of your body to the lower half of your body. So you need stability in there, you need stability in your trunk, and that's what your core and your lower back especially do. So that is why I love training those and have to train those. But to be honest, this trap bar deadlift with a shrug at the moment is got to be my favourite movement. I just love the way it makes me feel. Probably because I didn't feel really strong in my RDLs today. I wasn't confident with going above anything more than 100 kilos on the trap bar deadlift, and I think that was a wise decision. I'll try again tomorrow, see how I feel, but because I haven't touched any sort of heavy weights or bars for at least 4 days, I think I did a bit of heavier bench, maybe at the start of my working week, but I'll have to look back at the log for that. So yeah, look, feeling strong, feeling good, and I'll leave it at that. So cheers, thank you very much, and we will catch you in the video tomorrow, eh?